What's going on, people? Oh, what the fuck? All right, Bill's Mafia, baby. Bill's fucking Mafia. Carl, Figs, Kilowatt, Northwest Peachtree. Bill's fucking Mafia. Hell yeah. How's everyone doing? Twitch is frozen? I can give a shit. I really don't care. I watched first episode. I watched the first episode. It's pretty good. Fuck is wrong with this shirt? How's everyone doing on a Sunday? R.I.P. Bob Saget, yeah. R.I.P. Full House. No hoodie today. Might open the window and put a hoodie on though. I wonder if you got bad ones or just took too much or what happened. We got trapped in their cars in a snowstorm. That's fucked. $22 dead, trapped in their cars in a snowstorm in Pakistan. That's fucked. It is weird. Well, how's everyone doing on a Sunday night? What'd everyone get up to for din-dins? What did everybody up to for the din-dins? Right, you had swordfish, Norfolk. I had steak. And scalloped potatoes. Well, as per usual, if you got something to smoke on, I suggest you smoke on it now. Or forever hold your high. Welcome, thank you for joining me. Kilowatt, Northwoods, Peachtree, Calito Figueroa. How about them Bills, eh? Yeah, my wife made them. They were good. Broke your coffee cup. Horror show. Look how Tyrion the robot. Look how well Tyrion the robot dances to the beat. Look, he's getting down. Christy Lynn. Well, how goes the battle? Jorge Skinner. Jorge Skinner. George of the Guatemalan jungle. George of the motherfucking jungle. Smoking hella fires right now. You're smoking some Santa Monica fire. Santa Monica! What should we do tonight, boys and girl? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to goddamn mandate people to come watch. What is that? That's a broken cup. That is a broken cup. The loop caught the handle. Shit. I should get like actual blue lights. Bob Saget videos. There's there's a second episode. I've only saw the first episode. Such a shame. The 49ers won. You know what's a shame? You know what's really a shame is that it took so goddamn long to decide a game between two teams that no one gives a fuck about. That's what's a shame. That's the only shame. The only shame is that it took so much goddamn time. That's the only shame. I guess that's what happens when two forgettable teams play each other, right? I guess that's what happens. Fuck, it's all just like news covering him dying. I want to see like Bob Saget videos.
Let me tell you where that comes from. I'm on a plane and I write down a joke to make people laugh because the world is so screwed up and I can't watch the news. It's upsetting me. I'd rather just talk about everything below my belt and everything's just fine. People just laugh. But if I'm on a plane and I'm writing, I don't want to give my dick a big head, and there's a guy next to me, but he's not looking at my face, and he looks at the table and he sees dick, big head, he's scared. He's fucking scared. What's next to him? And then he sees it's me, and then he doesn't know what to make of it because he only knows that I was a dad on a show. And that fucking show won't go away. It was Full House, now it's Fuller House. One day it's gonna be Fullest House. It's just gonna be me in an urn on the window. It's amazing, and it's an honor. I'll get the big elephant out of the room. Not gonna talk about that show the whole time, but it's the #1 show in the world. I don't know, I don't know if that's true. I'm just making it up. But I knew it was popular years ago because John Stamos, by the way, I have never had sex with him where he orgasmed. I tried so hard. Please, Uncle Jesse, please finish, please. Back in the day when he had the mullet, it was just easy. I could ride him anywhere, you know? Oh, whatever, like you didn't think it happened. It's a really nice way to start. But we knew we were popular. He and I were one time, or he and I, or he and me? What do you say? Who gives a shit? Grammar's bullshit. So Stamos and I were on Main Street in Disneyland, and Winnie the Pooh was standing next to us. The Winnie the Pooh. And he's right there, and he's like angry. He's all mad. He's all winnied out. And John and I are there, and little kids are coming over, and they're just getting our autographs, and they're ignoring Winnie the Pooh. And I knew it. I said, John, look, we're bigger than Pooh. That's a bigger laugh than that. That's okay. I respect you people because you're smart, and you are, and you know you are, and that's what I like about you. You're arrogant little fuckers. And I appreciate that, because I'm arrogant. No, I'm not. I'm a really good person. But I don't want to offend people. I was doing a show, you know, because there's a duality. I do many different things. I love entertaining families. That sounds so creepy. I do kid parties. I love entertaining children. But I really do love making people laugh because they need it really bad right now. So I've been hitting stand-up hard because it just feels so good to make people feel good. And you can hear the laughter. It comes out in the sound of queefing or whatever the hell. I don't think it's any points on words with friends, by the way. I've tried. It's a big word, but you say big words in Brooklyn. That's what happens here. You gotta talk smart because you're all hipsters. I know what's going on here. I've played here before and I had a good time. Got 9 people pregnant. That's why I came back. Just make some support payments. And that's the story of how I met your mother. See, I know it's weird. It's just like a pop culture thing to be in this big bird suit that I'm in. So people yell out, Full House, you know, they yell that out, and somebody will yell out, Entourage, no matter where I go, everywhere you look, there's a hand to hold on to. But that's a creepy song. That's Stranger Danger. But some people get disappointed. Like one young lady was sitting in the audience at a show a few weeks ago. This really happened, and it was a few weeks ago. And she said, oh my God, I was 11, and he was a meat executive. He was like a head of meat. He was a meathead, basically. And he would just tell me sick shit, which is why I became a comedian before I did anything else. We would be in a restaurant, this is true, and he was sitting next to me, and he had a menu, and he said, tonight's specials are cake and cock, and they're out of cake. I was like, I'm 11. I like cake. They don't have cake? He was a sick guy, really funny, but just said weird stuff. He went through the Depression. He would say jokes like, ask me how I slept last night. How'd you sleep? Like a baby with your mom's tit in my mouth. I'm like, oh my God. I want to be emancipated, you creepy man. I didn't know what he was talking about. He would do dumb things. He said, I read the newspaper today. I think it was a misprint. I didn't know if the guy shot himself or shit himself. Just a walking rim shot, the whole thing. He was a supermarket person, supermarkets. He said that one day A&P was gonna merge with Stop and Shop and be Stop and Pee. He's not here anymore. How you doing, sir? He told me a joke. This is a really weird joke. I shouldn't share it. Okay, but you insisted. This is an old school joke from the Depression, so this is it. A guy goes into a house of ill repute, which I didn't even know what that meant. I was 11 years old. It doesn't mean nothing. And that's how I talk, it means nothing. And the guy says, what do you have for $1? So that's around this time, when this place was built. Now, 20 years earlier, forget the fucking facts, listen to the joke. So this guy goes into a house of ill repute and says, what do you have for $1? And the proprietor, I don't know what proprietor means, he says, I'm 11. He says, go upstairs and make a right and sit on the bed and you'll know what to do. And the guy goes upstairs and sits on a bed and a little door opens up and a chicken comes into the room. This is foul. And we laughed. And the guy, I'm 11, the guy, as my dad tells me, does his business with the chicken. That's fucking nothing to me. I don't know what that does his business. What, like shaking hands, Willie Loman, you got briefcases? I don't know. And then he says, and then the chicken is disgusted and he leaves. He's angry, that's correct. You know what I'm talking about. Chicken goes away. And the guy goes away and he comes back the next day and he says to the proprietor, I'm 11, I swear to you, I didn't even have a pube. I didn't know what my dad was talking about. Well, I had one pube, and I put it under the pillow for the pube fairy to come. And he came on my pillow, which was really bad, but... So the guy comes back, and he says, I want my $1 back. And the proprietor says, oh, no, sir, good sir. Because it was much more official. He said, I'll make it up to you. Go up the stairs this time and make a left, and you won't want your $1 back. And guy goes, okay, goes up the stairs, makes a left, sits down in a screening room, bunch of guys in raincoats. There's a big curtain opens up, and there's a porn thing going on, a bunch of people, like some orgy. And I'm 11. I don't know what anything he's talking about means. And he says, and the guy turns to the guy next to him and says, boy, this is something. And the other guy says, you should have been here yesterday. Some guy was fucking a chicken. It's a long way to go. But that's my childhood. And my parents were together for 65 years. She loved him to death. And my mother's still alive. She can hear you right now. She's outside driving around. She is 87 and she still drives. I got her a prescription Winfield. So, and I got the first alert. You know that thing where you fall and you can't get up or something? She hits the button and it calls the first people that I want there, which is the caterer. That's specifically a Jewish person's kind of joke. Any Jewish people here? Did you have a coupon? How'd you go about that? You applaud that. That does not help. I'm actually Jewish. I'll be showing you in just a few minutes. We'll bring the jib in close. I call it a jib to show my giblets. I actually have been circumcised 9 times. Enjoy the calamari.
Oh, man.
How fast can you buy home insurance from Square One? 5 minutes. See if you're...
Here's a guy who's very funny, but he's lonely. He needs acceptance. Make him happy, won't you? Bob Saget, how about it? All right, Bobby, here you are now.
Thank you. Guys, you're a wonderful audience. You really are. I'm not just kissing up. I'm really not. I swear. I'm slobbering all over you is what I'm doing, because I need you to like me real bad, because I have no act, and I have no life, and I have no future. I'm serious. My mom is Gumby, my dad is Pokey, and I'm Mr. Potato Head. So I talk real fast. If you have any drugs, take them now. I'm serious. I'm not funny, but I am quick. That's the problem I have with women, too. But it's good to be here. It really is. And you're a great crowd. I'm not just kissing up again. It's the second time I've done it. I just want to take a jacuzzi with you and throw in a toaster. I'm not kidding. I've never been this happy. But you're a great crowd, and I care about all you individually. I just want to have sex with you right now. I'm serious. But I can't. I'm working right now. But I'm a happy guy, because I got married. Married my girlfriend of 7 years. At her age, I'm going to jail. No, I did. I really am in love. I told her tonight, I said, when I come home, I want to make love to you badly. And she said, at least you don't overestimate yourself. But I'm nuts over her. She's this tall. It's my dad's joke. I'm sorry you laughed at that. I've lost respect for you. I really have. Everybody needs friends, you know? I had it rough when I was a kid. Never got to go to camp. My mom thought I'd get embarrassed undressing in front of little boys, but I've changed because I kind of like it now. That's not true. I'm no senator. But thank you very much. I never got to sleep over my friends' houses. Anybody get to do that? You slept over my friends' houses? I never got to. I said, Mom, why not? She said, Bob, you have no friends and you have no life, and I'm not your mother, okay? But I love my mom, and you can too for just $12. I'm sorry, that was easy. Let that go. I'm sorry. Don't applaud that. You're scum, buddy. You really are. I live in California now, which is nice, but I'm actually frightened to death of an earthquake. I'm really scared of it. Californians don't care. It's like, oh, look, the ground's opening up. There goes my house. There go my wife and kids. It's Miller time. I'm scared there's going to be like a major quake and I'll be getting a vasectomy at the time. That's what I'm scared of, you know? It was a 7.3, but now it's a 4.1. But I won't do that, damn it, because I want to have a kid. I really do. Right now I'm in no position to have a kid because I'm standing up and I'm alone. But I want to have a kid, but we've been trying to have a kid. Well, my wife's trying. I just lay there. But I won't breastfeed. Damn it, I won't do it. Men can breastfeed. Did you know that? I read that. Okay, I made it up. No, I read it. I wrote it down and then I read it. I believe everything I read. Men can breastfeed, but you have to actually take cans of evaporated milk to your chest. Give the baby an opener, you know? I remember when I was just a little baby, my mother was looking down and she said, Bob, you've had enough. And I said, don't act like you don't like it. You know, I was young, but I was a smart kid. But there's so much bad stimulus out there for kids. I was in a toy store recently. There's this new doll out. It's half man, half woman. It's called Gee, I Don't Know. You've been real nice. I had a good time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bob Saget, huh? All right. Very good, Bob. Very good, baby. I tell you, it pays to be good. It don't pay much, but it pays.
This young comedian wrote this introduction to me. He wrote it. And he quoted it. It says, Dear Dick.
Stories from your friends next
Dear Dick.
door. They never told me you might be a star tonight. So let that camera roll. You're red, white, and blue. All the funny things you do. America, America, this is you.
America's Funniest Home Videos proudly presents Bone Salute Heads to... Hey, wake up, guys. A salute to Boneheads. Yeah, that's better. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I really didn't expect that response. Thank you. And a special welcome to our special one-hour special. This is a salute to Boneheads. Thank you. One guy. How do you know if you're a bonehead, you might ask? Well, you're watching this show, aren't you? You're not watching a documentary on fish. So, boneheads, and I say that in the kindest possible way, welcome. Front, boneheads in the lobby. You can laugh there.
You're not gonna believe this, Charlie. You know that America's Funniest Home Videos? They're doing a special about boneheads, and they want me to be their poster boy. Oi! What?
Let's check out this little puny bike of yours. Vroom, vroom. Of course, it doesn't come close to my brand new shiny red automobile.
It came close. Real close.
How much you boys off that roof and on the landing right now?
Right,
Dad! I am Winston the Magnificent. You see the fire behind the box? I am now going to close the box. I am going to stick the fire inside the box. Oh, stick, stick, stick. Oh, look, I made my assistant appear. I am in trouble.
This is Debona Airlines. You want to be a flight attendant, you have to clear 8 coach seats. Go work. Now, Henderson, see if you've got what it takes to work for Debona Airlines. Congratulations, you just broke the neck of the passenger in 8A.
Should have had it done when I was 16. What the heck? Okay. You know, it wouldn't be a special show without revealing our special sign. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow boneheads, our sign. What bonehead is responsible for these scissors and that sign? He should be working with these prank-inducing workers. Sorry, I will never call a person above you a bonehead. Don't do that. Hello. Lonnie Horton is just trying to do his job. His annoying, persistent, practical, joking friends just won't let him.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, the evening TV.
The same Lonnie. And I think 3 times warrants a grievance to the union.
Subscribe to
Because of his nervous condition, Bill Tyree has requested a job in the quiet ends of the warehouse.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This whole world's confusing me. Flowers leaning as you ever see. Ain't a bird who knows your tune. Then a little voice inside you whispers, don't sell your dreams so soon.
Bob Saget. You were a real one, my friend. You were a real one.
That's why I have been through a lot of shit as a stand-up, and you don't always get love, especially if you're a beginning stand-up. For 10 years, I was pretty lonely. I had a girlfriend, and then I didn't, and then I was working like the shittiest gigs, because that's how you become a comedian. So for 10 years, I was working in really weird places. I worked in a strip club once in Anchorage. And Jay Leno recommended it. He's like, hey, you gotta go. That's my Jay Leno impression. Hey, you gotta go to. I'm a great impressionist. You gotta go to this strip club. They pay cash. Seinfeld's doing it. I'm like, okay, I'll go. What the hell? I got no life. And so this is what happened. There's a stripper on stage, and I don't remember much about it, but she's there. She's got little easy bake oven pie pans over her nether regions, which I believe is near Finland. I'm not sure. And she's got scotch taped matches over these areas, and she lights the matches on fire, and then she does a little dance in her cocaine stupor, and then she just blows herself out. And she goes, and now the comedy of Bob Saget. It's like, fucking get me high and shoot me. I did another hell gig. This one's worse. Okay, I'm 24 years old. Everything bad happened at 24 doing stand-up. I'm playing a place, the Cleveland Comedy Club. This is not gonna go well because this is a film special, and so people are gonna hear about this. It doesn't exist anymore. It's now the parking lot of a stadium. But before it was a comedy club, literally months before, it was a chicken slaughtering house. So it's like, remove the dead chickens, bring in the comics, you know? And so there I was, and at that time, lewds were popular. So the club owner at the club in Cleveland gives me 2 lewds. And I put them in my pocket, and he says, put them in your pocket because this waitress likes you. And you can give one to her, and then she'll just be unconscious, and you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, I'm not like that, dude. That's for the future. I don't do that. I'm just not like that at all. And he says, trust me. And I had to stay, not in a hotel, stayed in the comedy club owner's house, upstairs in a little tiny room that had a rat in it. I had to stay upstairs in the room with the rat. I go upstairs, and then this girl comes upstairs. And this is a true story, and it makes me feel bad. And if she's watching this, I apologize deeply from the bottom of my scrot to the back of your throat. But the thing is, I thought I wasn't gonna be blue. I'm working so hard. I really am. I'm going to classes. So what happened was I'm upstairs, she comes up, and I don't want to talk misogynistically or chauvinistically about a lady and her looks, which is a terrible thing to do. But this girl, let me tell you what she looked like. Remember Danny DeVito in that first Batman movie? Bit the head off a fish, and she had like squid ink coming out of her mouth. She looked like that. And so she comes upstairs, and she's like sitting on the bed, and I'm just laying there. I got 2 lewds in my pocket, and she's like, hi, Bob. And she's like breathing on me like mackerel and anchovies. It was like a Caesar salad with no lettuce or croutons, you know? It was just not good. And then I want to have sex with you. And she was saying like smoke's coming out. And I said, no, I can't do it. And she wouldn't stop. You know what I did? I took a lewd. I roofied myself. That's the kind of man I am. And then she left because I was unconscious. And then an hour later, she comes back. And this is really offensive, so I apologize. This is gross. Her breath at this point smelled like a Slim Jim dipped in shit. And she's like, Mom, come on, let's get... And I just went like, no. I took the second lewd. I put myself down. I wanted to be out. I didn't want to remember nothing. And I woke up in the morning, and I don't know, my butthole was burning. I think she stuck like a 4-hour Dur flame log up there just to get back at me.
Oh, that's fun. He was like dirty comedy. Like he was known for like super nasty fucking jokes. Oh, it was good. He partied hard. He had a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun, man. And everybody, the crazy thing about him was that everyone thought he was like the wholesome guy because he played that character on Full House. So everybody just assumed that he was the character and that he was like this wholesome, sweet guy. But it turned out he was an animal, an outright fucking animal. And they had to like kind of cover it up for a while. Oh, it was always like a Hollywood no. Everyone knew about Bob. He's great. He's great. Oh, what happened here?
Grammarly helps you work more efficiently, which makes accomplishing your work goals easier. Get full sentence rewrite suggestions. Say
This is on a really good line, cutting just right of the flagstick.
And boy, those are two great iron swings. He is really swinging the club well. And sometimes that would, you know, really, he was almost too expressive with that, you know, the outward emotion. But tell you what, I'd rather have a guy super competitive and the will to win like he does rather than too laid back, that's for sure.
To be honest with you, I'd like to par 72, but
I think this is just a wedge for Rom. As far as they're hitting the balls these days, I think this needs to be a par 4 next year.
there you go, John. Have you told anybody that yet? John Rahm here. Boy, this is a putt he could use. Made a good one back at 4 for a bogey. A little more pace, might have had a chance. But a good solid birdie. Didn't shoot himself out of it, even with the really bad shot.
He came over that hill, and that's where his ball was. He couldn't find it. He couldn't believe how far it rolled out. 118 here. This is just a sand wedge.
Okay, a couple of chances for threes there for Smith and Rahm.
Straight back up that mountain. He's going to have to give this a good hit.
He did. How about it? That's a good putt. Good, solid putt for Rahm.
That's exactly what he's done, Kurt. So high on the exact same line as Cameron Smith's. How about those two shots?
You kidding me?
Wow. What a rust. Haven't played since mid-October. There you go. I'm the #1 man in the world.
I think Cam Smith was counting on his closest to the pin reward, and John just took it right out of his pocket.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's 3 birdies now in the last 4 holes after that bogey at the 4th.
Cut it right back in there. Low bullet, starting left edge of the green, cutting back to the middle. Oh, yeah.
Good shot there. Really good shot. He's got a better feel for the pace of the greens today, I think Rahm does. He's going to turn sharp right there. Okay, good birdies. 2 different ways for Smith and Rahm.
Yesterday, he just chipped a little pitching wedge from 110. This might be the same club.
On the absolutely perfect line as well.
How good is that? That's a pitching wedge from 106. Now, I know you have to add everything in, but that is really good. Keeping the pressure on here. This is 4 in a row to get to 19 under.
Cameron Smith won today.
Yeah. If you wondered if they were...
Cameron Smith won the Century today. That plantation course in Hawaii is supposed to be a tough course, and they destroyed it. And now they're talking about maybe making some of the par 5s, par 4s next year. It's fun. I wish I was that good. No putts yet. No putts yet. No putts yet. Can make a couple right now. Did you guys hear? Yeah, I don't know if they had slaves in Hawaii though, but there are plantation courses in the south. It's like southern United States, which is pretty wild. And then all over the Bahamas, like that area, lots of plantation courses because that's exactly what they used to be. That's what the land used to be. But yeah, I'm assuming that the plantation means something different in Hawaii. I don't know. Who knows? I heard. I don't know what I heard. Yeah, bots are everywhere. That's the whole point. That was my whole point. The bots are definitely out. I can tell. I just know it. I can feel it. I can fucking feel it. And I think it's people that I think they're more advanced than we think they are. I think they got us fooled. I really do. I think they got us fooled. There's some new shit they just rolled out. 2022, some new shit. I also make a couple putts. Before the light turns out. So remember, I don't have to move my seat that far, but I want to get the light though. I wonder if he's gonna get away. I wonder if he'll get away. Will he get away now? Will he get away? Will he get... No! Definitely not gonna get away. He just got smoked by a car. Run! Run, 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 run as fast as you can! Run before they let the dogs out! Uh-oh. What do we got here? We got someone on the runway, folks. We've got someone riding on the runway. Oh, about to take a left-hand turn. Gonna be coming around the other runway strip down. Okay, we're on the takeoff strip. Here we go. He just passed the jet. Oh. Narrowly missed by the police there. Roller coaster. Roller coaster. You did the roller coaster. You did the roller coaster. You did the roller coaster, roller coaster. Oh, it's a Honda Accord. About to come to a stop here. Going through a fence. We're going through a fence. Oh. Now we're on a highway. What to do now? I think the car is stalled. Yep. That car is a dead car. You better get out. You better get the fuck out. Yeah, I've talked a few times about making beats or making music on here. Getting like a couple sound, even like just a digital soundboard on the computer. GTA RL would be fun, yeah. A lot of people are doing that right now, though. Well, 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 well. What's up, motherfuckers? It's Sunday. It's Sunday, January 9th. Start your week out. With some positive vibrations. What's going on in Discord? Well, well, well. Yep. I might go watch a movie right now, actually. My wife made some... She baked some fucking chocolate chip cookies with sea salt. The sea salt on top. Oh my word. They're chewy chocolate chip cookies. They're just gooey. And then they got sea salt on top. Oh my fuck. Incredible. I might, you know what's funny is, my wife never used to watch, Lord of the Rings. Was never interested in it. And I would always watch it, obviously. I was a big fan. And, she would tell me to put it on because she thought it was so boring that it would make her fall asleep. And so she would fall asleep to it. And then at some point, she paid attention for like longer than 5 seconds. And she realized that it was super cool. And she became a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. And now she started watching all the Hobbits. So the last couple nights we've been putting on The Hobbit. The Desolation of Smaug. It's a fun movie, man. They're fun movies, but she used to hate it. I watched this thing called Nerd of the Rings. He breaks down the Lord of the Rings universe. It's pretty nuts, man. I'm actually kind of done with this fucking music in my ear the whole time. It's pretty nuts, man. I didn't realize, like, the story that you see, I think I've talked about this a lot. The story that you see in the Hobbit movies and in the Lord of the Ring trilogy is, like, I think in the second and third age is when that takes place. But, like, all this shit happens in the first age, and then even before that, there's, like, a different time when it's, like, these god things. And in before the earth is round, it's like flat, and like before the map looks like it does in the Lord of the Rings, it used to be like all this water, or no, sorry, it used to be all this land in the middle, and then during this battle where, like, I think Sauron was defeated, it flooded. Like, it was like it was made an ocean, and then it separated this like landmass out to the west. Anyways, it's like a really interesting fucking background. And I watched this thing. It's called, let me see, it's Nerd of the Rings. So, like, I've been watching all of these, and he just does such a great job of explaining. Like, this one will probably be sick. Like, I like all the bad guys. So, like, I like watching the ones about the ring race and about the like Sauron and about the 10 kings that were that were like corrupted. So, like, Sauron creates these rings, and then he gives them out, and then, like, his idea is that he's going to corrupt these people. So he gives these rings out to the elves, and then he gives these rings out to the dwarves, and then he gives 10 rings out to men. And the spell on the rings doesn't work on the dwarves, and it doesn't work on the elves, but it corrupts the men. And the 10 kings, the men kings, they become corrupted, and they turn into these ring wraith things. Anyway.
3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. They were the rings that worked just as Sauron had intended, first giving
That's cool, Victor, man. That's super cool.
and reducing them to his slaves. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we cover the 9 rings of power, the 9 rings of the Nazgul. The 9 rings share the same origin as the 7 of the dwarves. They were made in Eregion by the Gwaith y Myrdain, the elven smiths under their lord Celebrimbor. Unlike the later 3 rings of the elves, the 9 are made with Sauron's help, binding them even more to his one ring. Despite being in a vault in Eregion as Sauron creates the One Ring around 1600 of the Second Age, the 9 would fall into the Dark Lord's hands. In 1697, when Sauron sacks the realm and kills Celebrimbor, he claims the 9 rings, along with those that would go to the dwarves. Sometime in the next 500 years, presumably after 1701 when he is driven out of Eriador, Sauron would give these 9 rings to great men in Middle-earth, tempted by his power.
Also, like, what he's explaining right here is how Sauron creates all these rings, and then he creates one ring for himself that rules over all of them, and all those rings are tied to his. And like the spell or his little trick works on the men, but it doesn't work on the elves and the dwarves. They fuck off. But the men get corrupted, and they turn into these ring wraith things. And then the worst one is that fucking, I can't remember what his name is. But anyways, Sauron is so evil, and like he's in. See, I don't know the name of the other one, but then the other guy that you end up fighting in Lord of the Rings, he's not even the main shit. He's not even the main shit. Because there's this other guy. Is it Sauron who's the worst of the worst? Because then there's this other guy who dates back to like the old fucking ages, like before the first age. And they've been constantly fighting this fucking guy, and he gets beat a couple times. They cast him into this dungeon, like this like empty, wasteless void, and he's trapped there supposed to be for forever, or at some point he gets out. Yeah. It's pretty badass though.
We know that 3 of the 9 men were lords of Numenor. For one other, we are given an actual name, Khamul, the Easterling.
Okay. Morgoth. See, so we hear about Sauron, right? In the Lord of the Rings, the whole thing is about Sauron. Sauron is like the main bad guy. He's the main foe. He's that eye. All the bad orcs and ghouls and all the bad shit that happens. The necromancer. Well, the necromancer ends up being Sauron. That's like in The Hobbit when Gandalf goes and sees the necromancer. Well, the necromancer is Sauron. So Sauron is like the worst guy in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. He's like the thing that's like corrupting the ring, right? He's trying to get his ring back, the ring of power, the one ring, and this whole story. But he's not even the real problem. The real problem is this Morgoth thing. Morgoth is like the creator of Sauron. Morgoth, like, I think created Sauron in his image or some shit. But Morgoth is way worse, and his story goes back like the first and the second, way before. So like this here, we're telling the story of how the 9 rings were made and whatever, right? Now look, when we go to here, watch this story. Because this is what I found the most interesting about this Nerd of the Rings stuff, is that you only get like a tiny little smidgen of the actual whole story. It's so similar. Like all the great authors, George R. Martin, J.K. Rowling, Tolkien, all the great authors created stories or universes that were so in depth that were almost more in depth than our own universe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they had so much, like, every culture or every character comes from a background that has so much culture and history and, like, their own, like, you know, like in Game of Thrones, every family, they all have all this, like, big backstory. It's crazy. Like, how much do you... I can't imagine, like, how much you have to write as an author to create something like that. Like, to create a Game of Thrones, to create a Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, you know, to create Harry Potter. Like, what has to be going on? What has to be going on for that to be created? Like, your brain just must have to be... I couldn't imagine the type of creativity you have to possess to do that.
The original Dark Lord of Middle-earth. After sowing discord in the creation of the world, he goes on to wreak havoc upon its inhabitants. Today on Nerd of the Rings, we begin our look at the entire life of Tolkien's most evil and most powerful Dark Lord. When it comes to Morgoth, there's simply...
Isn't that crazy? So, like, imagine making a movie like Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then you make the Hobbit trilogy, and you tell a story about this time when they're dealing with not even the worst guy. Like, imagine building a story where your villain isn't even the worst villain. You know, like in Batman, Joker's the absolute worst, right? But imagine you do a whole series of movies. Like for example, in Star Wars, we know who the worst person or thing is. It's the Emperor or Vader, or you know what I mean? Like, you know. Imagine you do Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and you tell a story and you don't even mention the worst guy there is. You mention Sauron, who is the guy that the worst guy created. And it's like, like when I started to find out about this, when I started watching these, I was blown away. I was like, I can't believe they made movies about not even the worst guy. Like this Morgoth, he's the fucking worst. And they've been dealing with this Morgoth for so long, and they keep fucking winning. Then and then there's like thousands and thousands of years go by when he rules and everything gets sick. And there's like a crazy like a sickness, like a disease that comes. It's fucked. Anyways, let's go.
Too much to cover in one of my normal videos. So this week we will cover his origins and early battles, and conclude next week with his later wars and downfall. In the beginning, Eru Ilúvatar, the god of Tolkien's world, creates the Ainur, that is the Valar and the Maiar. Melkor is among the Valar, and the mightiest of them all. In his impatience to fill the void with created life, he searches throughout the void for the flame imperishable, the mysterious power of Eru that allows him to create and give life. Melkor is unable to locate the flame imperishable, as it is...
It's weird that I had sort of an interest in this before I even realized or heard that Amazon is doing another Lord of the Rings. So, September of this year, Amazon's Lord of the Rings comes out. And apparently, I don't know if you guys heard. But I think gay Frodo. So welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat.
Not located in the void, but with Eru himself. You're likely familiar with the other name for the flame imperishable, the secret fire, which Gandalf references during his fight with the Balrog. As
You gotta watch. Sorry, I keep pausing this shit, but actually I kind of have to anyways. Although I'm pretty sure that this guy wouldn't care that I'm doing this, because at the end of the day, whatever. What was I gonna say here? Oh yeah, if you're gonna watch Lord of the Rings, you got to watch the extended versions. Get all the extended versions in Blu-ray. Oh my God, you're in for a treat. Although I will say this, the third one, Lord of the Rings, the third one, Return of the King, in extended version, it's too fucking long. It's too fucking long. They said goodbye forever. They said goodbye for so long. I couldn't do it. It was too long. But anyways, great movies.
Melkor wanders through the void. He comes to have ideas different than those of the other Ainur. He grows rebellious against Eru and wishes to create life himself.
Yeah. Hashtag gay Frodo. I heard something about how they are implying now, I guess, even though Tolkien never implied or mentioned anything about their relationship being of a H to the Omo one, that it was an intense friendship. They care deeply about each other like friends do. But it's to be expected. At least it could have been worse, guys. Honestly, it's 2022. It could have been so much worse. I say we just take our L. Me, Frodo, Samwise, Gamgee, and Gandalf. We're just gonna take a giant L, and we're just gonna appreciate the fact that we get a show at all.
Without the flame imperishable, however, he is unable to create life, but can merely corrupt and twist it, as we will see later. When it comes time for the creation of the universe, the Ainur make a great music. At this time, Melkor weaves his own thoughts into his song, which clashes with the theme of Iluvatar. This causes some of the Ainur around him to change their music to his. For a time, the theme of Iluvatar and the discord of Melkor battle one another. Eru smiles and sends forth a second theme. Most of the Ainur join this new theme, but Melkor opposes it even more violently with his discord. Finally, shocked at what they are witnessing, many of the Ainur stop singing and Melkor's discord gains the upper hand. Eru then begins a third theme, sweeter and more beautiful than the previous two. This theme cannot be beaten by Melkor. Still, he opposes the music of Eru. Finally, Eru stops the music completely with a single chord of his own. As we read in the Silmarillion, the music ceased. Then Iluvatar spoke, and he said, "Mighty are the Ainur, and mightiest among them is Melkor, but that he may know, and all the Ainur, that I am Iluvatar. Those things that ye have sung, I will show them forth, that ye may see what ye have done. And thou, Melkor, shalt see that no theme may be played that hath not its uttermost source in me, nor can any alter the music in my despite. For he that attempteth this shall prove but mine instrument in the devising of things more wonderful, which he himself hath not imagined." Melkor is shamed and angered by this rebuke, but hides his feelings. As the Ainur see the work of their song, Melkor is among those who beg Eru to allow them to enter Arda. Melkor pretends to have a desire to guide the world and its inhabitants for Eru's glory. But secretly, he desires to dominate Arda and its creatures, especially the forthcoming children of Iluvatar, that is, the elves and men. Along with the other Valar, Melkor enters Ea, the created universe, and makes his way to Arda, the world. After they arrive, Melkor drops his facade, declaring to the other Valar that he is now master of Arda. Manwë, who is Melkor's brother, fears that Melkor will attempt to disrupt their labors.
Look at the Earth is flat there. Look at this. So apparently, before like Hobbit and shit, and during Hobbit, when Frodo is sucking off Sam, or the Earth is round. But at this time, because this is way before, the Earth is flat. It's like this little You know? Looks like this. And then at some point, this is even before the trees. So, like, if you know the story of, like, the backstory, there's these two trees. I don't know of their life, but anyways, they're the light of the world. So they have these two trees, and one is like, I don't know how it works exactly, but they're like the sun, basically. So they light up the world. And then Melkor, this mean fuck, he destroys the trees. And then these people, they have to make a sun, and then I think at some point, yeah, that's what I said. The Earth is flat at this point. Yeah. Those ones, the trees of Valinor. So that's that tree that's in the garden that in Return of the King. So they're constantly trying to keep those trees alive because they're like very special. But anyways, these people, they make the sun and the moon, and then at some point, the world turns into round. It turns round.
In Arda, and calls forth more Ainur to protect them. Melkor leaves, making his way to the remote regions of Ea. As the Valar work to form Arda, Melkor seeks to destroy or taint anything they create. He demolishes their mountains, razes their valleys, and spills their seas. Aule's works are among the most affected by Melkor's deeds. After uncounted battles and years pass, news reaches the Ainur, who remained with Eru. Hearing of the war, Tulkas, the most warlike of all the Valar, comes to Arda in the Valiant year.
Is it that way, or is it the other way around? I always thought that the trees came before, and then we got a moon and a sun afterwards because they destroyed the trees. Because then, yeah, it has to be that way. Because then that line of those trees goes on, and like it shows up in different parts of the world. And then, you know how in Return of the King, that tree dies? I'm pretty sure they set it on fire or some shit. Well, apparently later on in the story, like after the movie would be, like later on in the story, Gandalf is with someone, and they find, like, I don't know, like way in, like out in the middle of fucking nowhere, they find a little like flower of the tree growing. So the line of these trees is continued, but they go back. That's why they're so special, because they go back to the first two big ones. I'm pretty sure they're gonna show it here.
1499. Melkor flees before the laughter and anger of Tulkas, escaping beyond the walls of night. From that moment on, he will forever possess a hatred of Tulkas, utter darkness. The Valar complete Arda and raise up two lamps which give the world light. They dwell in a land called Almaren. Unfortunately, Melkor's power earns him a following among some of the Maiar, which at this time likely includes Sauron. Some act as his...
Oh, so the lamps were like a different version of the trees. I think I don't. Why do I think that some point that they created the sun and moon though in their place after they were destroyed?
Spies, and eventually he meets with them as the Valar hold a feast after completing their work. It is at this feast that Tulkas marries Nessa. As Nessa dances before the Valar, Tulkas falls into sleep. Melkor.
That's right. So these are different then. The White Tree of Gondor was from the Numenor and the line of Aragorn that brought the sea to the Middle Earth when the island was sunk by the West. That is true. But they have something to do with each other, don't they?
Looking down in hatred, decides his time to strike has come. Melkor and his followers come over the walls of night, returning to Arda. He delves deep into the earth, creating the fortress of Utumno in the Iron Mountains of the north. Evil flows from the fortress. Death and illness strike at the vegetation of Arda. Animals fight and kill one another, and the Valar come to realize Melkor has returned. The Valar begin to search for Melkor's hiding place, but the future Dark Lord strikes first. He comes to Almaren and destroys the city and the two lamps. But Melkor assailed the lights of Iluin and Ormal, and cast down their pillars and broke their lamps. In the overflow of the mighty pillars, lands were broken and seas arose in tumult. And when the lamps were spilled, destroying flame was poured out over the earth. And the shape of Arda and the symmetry of its waters and its lands was marred in that time, so that
see?
the first designs of the Valar were never restored.
So, like, this motherfucker, man, this Morgoth, he's a mean son of a bitch, because every time he shows up, some bad shit happens. And every time he does something, he changes everything forever. Like, he literally changes the way the world is shaped and like how the water goes and stuff. He's no good. He's no good.
As the world is filled with fire and water and chaos, Melkor escapes, returning to his fortress. The spring of Arda, what should have been a joyous occasion, ends in disaster.
Oh, fuck. Goddamn commercials.
As the Valar must use all their power to hold the world together. With their home destroyed, the Valar travel across the sea and come to a
Now look at this place. This is...
There, they build the city of Valmar and create new sources of light, the two trees. This ushers in a new era for Arda, the years of the trees.
Okay.
These are measured in the same manner as Valiant years, every year being 9.5.
Okay, so there we go. Now we've got our timeline. So first you get the lamps, and then this Morgoth motherfucker comes, shows up, destroys the lamps. The Earth is changed, or yeah, I guess is it the Earth? Whatever this place is, this world is changed. And then they come back and they make the trees. So then it's the year of the trees. So they create these like almost like lamps, but instead they're trees. And then watch this depressive motherfucker Morgoth. He's gonna show up again, and then he's gonna do some shit. Watch this.
Of our own. Once we make our way into the first, second, and third ages, the years of Middle Earth are equal to our own. With the Valar now across the sea, Melkor is relatively free to roam Middle Earth, though some among the Valar appear in Middle Earth to thwart him as they are able. One is Ulmo, who will come into play quite a bit during the First Age. Yavanna is also mentioned as taking action in Middle Earth, and Orome, the huntsman.
Where were we? Where were we? Oh, right. We were talking about Lord of the Rings with your dumbass.
Ride throughout Middle Earth, delighting in hunting down and killing the monsters of Melkor. Believing the Valar might move against him, Melkor dwells in his fortress, building his strength and breeding monsters. He also gathers the Maiar who are loyal to him. These servants, cloaking themselves in shadow and flame, come to be known as Balrogs. During this time, he also constructs the fortress of Angband, where he places his greatest servant, Sauron. In the year of the trees 1050, the first elves awake at Cuiviénen. While the hunter Orome comes across them, so does Melkor. He racks the elves with fear, killing or capturing many in his time. Through the torture of his captives and other foul works, it is believed Melkor creates the race of orcs. After the Valar discover the elves, Manwë concludes it is the will of Eru to reclaim the lands of Middle Earth from Melkor. The Valar come to Middle Earth in the year of the trees 1090 to do battle.
You know what's so cool about Nerd of the Rings is like when it does get to like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, he gets the map, and then he gets like the little icons that represent, you know, Gandalf and Frodo and everybody, and he moves them around and then shows you at what times they're going, and then like you get such a better, like, cause like there's so much happening in the movies that it's kind of hard to keep track of what's going on, like all the moving pieces. It's too much. but he does such a great job of just like kind of like getting a bird's eye view of everything that's happening and all the moving pieces that are going on. And then you can really see like, oh, like, you know, Gollum is here and this is where he, and then this, and then it makes it really fun. Like, I really enjoy this guy's work. This Nerd of the Rings, you know, back when Game of Thrones was still something worth giving a shit about, you know, back before season 8 of Game of Thrones, when it was still a good show, I used to watch Talking Thrones, which was this guy who did the same thing. He broke down the Game of Thrones universe, and I loved it. I just loved it. I love like a real in-depth breakdown of like this family or this, you know, this thing, this creature, whatever it is. I think it's super cool. What was I? Yeah, super cool.
With Melkor. This massive War of the Gods begins with an army of the West confronting Melkor's forces in the northwest of Middle-earth. The entire region is ruined by the battle. The Valar are victorious in this first battle as the servants of Melkor retreat to Utumno. For the next 2 years, the Valar place guards in the land around the Bay of Cuiviénen, protecting the elves who had first awakened there. The Valar lay siege to Melkor's fortress. From where they stand, far away from the conflict, the elves can see only fires in the north and feel a mighty shaking of the earth. Finally, in the year of the trees 1099, the Valar break the gates and roof of Utumno. Melkor hides in the deepest pits of his fortress, but Tulkas arrives and binds him in the chain Angainor, which Aule the smith had forged. While Utumno is destroyed in this final act, the Valar don't discover all the deepest, darkest places within. Sauron and many of the Balrogs manage to escape capture.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
aftermath of this long war.
So that's another thing. So this guy, Morgoth, he's a real piece of shit, okay? He's a real piece of shit. He starts creating all these dark fucking creatures. Like he starts doing like all kinds of nefarious shit. And he starts creating, he makes Balrogs. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Balrog. The one, remember when Gandalf is they have to go through that orc cave or in whatever it is, wherever the hell they are, and then they run into that Balrog? That's just one of many. I think that one that Gandalf runs into is like one of the more badass ones, I think. Or maybe there was a different one that was more badass. I can't remember. And then this fucking piece of work, he makes the dragons. You know what's interesting is Smaug, who's the only dragon that you get introduced to in the movies. He's not even that big a deal. Like I think Smaug was like one of the first flying dragons. But before the flying dragons, Morgoth was making all sorts of big ass fucking. There was another dragon that didn't fly that was enormous and like destroyed all kinds of shit. And then you know what I didn't realize is that the desolation of Smaug means the area outside of that lonely mountain. So that whole area is desolate. It's like a wasteland, and it's because Smaug set it on fire. I think it used to be like a really a really populated area just out front of the dwarf, you know, where all the gold is and shit. But yeah, Morgoth was started making orcs, and then, or no, was it Sauron that made orcs? Anyways, he made all kinds of crazy shit. And not only that, but like depending on where these things would go, they would there would be like a sickness. Like there's diseases that went around that was from this thing. He was no good. He was not good.
Middle-earth is changed. New mountain ranges are raised up, the Great Sea becomes larger, and new lands and waterways take shape. The Valar drew Melkor back to Valinor, bound hand and foot and blindfold, and he was brought to the ring.
Angaleth.
There, he lay upon his face before the feet of Manwë, and sued for pardon. But his prayer was denied, and he was cast into prison in the fastness of Mandos, whence none can escape, neither Vala, nor elf, nor mortal man. Vast and strong are those halls, and they were built in the west of the land of Aman. There was Melkor doomed to abide for 3 ages long, before his cause should be tried anew, or he should plead again for pardon. So Melkor is...
So, like, at this point, they've got this guy. He's clinked up. All right? They gave him 20 to life. And he's in there, you know, eating ramen noodles and and honey buns. Okay? Now, why do they let him out? Like, they give him a second chance, which is completely nuts to me that they give this guy who's done... This guy has been up to no good the entire time that he's been rocking. Just hates life. Just hates it. Can't stand it. Wants to control it. Just wants to dominate everything. You know, like, there's some people you should just lock away forever. And this guy, I think you kind of made an argument for that. But no, they let him out.
Imprisoned within the halls of Mandos, roughly 2,850 years. All the while, he plots his revenge. As this time passes, many of the elves would come to dwell in Aman. This is a large topic in itself, so we'll cover it in a future video. After the 3 ages pass, Melkor is once again brought before his brother. Melkor bows down, prostrating himself once again before Manwë, begging for pardon. Manwë releases him from his captivity, much to the displeasure of Tulkas and Ulmo. The Valar decree that he will not return to Middle-earth, instead staying in Aman, where they can keep watch on him. In secret, Melkor begins working to corrupt the elves, for whom he holds a grudge, as it was for their safety that the Valar came to Middle-earth to overthrow him. As Melkor assesses the elves, he realizes the Vanyar, the elves that would forever dwell in Aman, do not trust him. The Teleri, who you may remember as being known for their shipbuilding, Melkor deems too weak to be effective in his plans. In the Noldor, however, he finds a curious people who are eager to learn from the Valar, even himself. In the year of the trees 1169, one among the Noldor is born who would be Melkor's most bitter enemy, but also his greatest tool for his evil purposes. Feanor, the creator of the Palantiri, and most importantly, the Silmarils, 3 great gems which shone with the light of the 2 trees. Melkor begins to spread rumors throughout the Noldor. He tells of Middle-earth and its wide lands, realms they would be free to rule were it not for the Valar keeping them in Aman. This distrust of the Valar and desire to rule takes hold in the hearts of many of the Noldor, especially Feanor. Melkor sows even more discord within the House of Finwë, between Feanor and his younger half-brother, Fingolfin. Manipulating Feanor's pride and quick temper, Melkor convinces Feanor that Fingolfin plans to usurp his place as their father's heir and take the Silmarils from him. After Feanor threatens to kill Fingolfin in 1490, the Valar banish him to Formenos, where he takes the Silmarils as well. In solidarity, Finwë also moves to Formenos to be with his son. Realizing that Melkor was...
Take care, Jorge. Viva Guadalupe! Viva Guadalupe! Jorge! Viva Guadalupe!
2 years of the trees later, Melkor reappears at Formenos, seeking to further influence Feanor. This time, however, Morgoth goes to...
Anyways, you get the fucking idea, right? The guy's no good. The guy's no good. He's no good, people. He's no good. He's real bad. Anyways, like I was saying, you could have done a movie about all this shit. You could easily do a movie about this shit. And then apparently, one of the images that Amazon Prime or whatever released for the new show, it shows, if you look in the background, it shows the 2 trees of light. So I wonder if it's like a flashback, because I think that show that they're doing or they've done and releasing this year, I think it takes place in the same time as like the Lord of the Ring and stuff. Like I don't think it, so it must be just like a flashback, because it definitely shows the 2 trees in that image. But yeah. Well, I think it's time for cookies Oh, I cannot wait for these cookies. I should actually grab one just to show you how fucking ridiculous these things look. Yeah, it's in the second age. You're right, Atmos. Atmos is a fucking hardcore like this, me. I like it. I'm like really interested in it. I don't know much about it, but I've watched everything. I've watched it all. I never how many of the books did I read? I think I read one of the books. I tried to read the Game of Thrones books too, but I don't know. You want to see the cookies? You want to see my pussy? Oh, they're spectacular. They got these little sea salt flakes on them. Ugh. Like little shards of methamphetamine just flaked all over them. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You know when you like bite into something sweet, but then your mouth tastes something salty, so your like taste buds, your mouth just starts watering. You know, it's almost like the salt fires your taste buds up right for the chocolate chip and the ooey gooey and the I just shot a load of my pants. You know, typically in the more northern areas of Canada, there tends to be a significantly higher amount of semen in baked goods. There's something about the types of communities that enjoy baked desserts, but there definitely has been evidence that supports a large quantity of semen in many baked items. We've been doing a lot of randomized, double-blind, placebo-based studies, and what we've noticed is a high quantity of semen in young adults, mostly male, mostly men, in lots of semen. Yeah, be careful. Be careful. Look out for that Nestle. You don't want that. I'll give you some Nestle, Northwoods. I'll shoot some Nestle all over you. You want it? You want it? I got a big drippy load of Nestle. Quick. Hey? Oh, do you remember drinking Nestle Quick? Do you remember? Okay. Anyone who's ever been alive, okay, remembers both the powdered Nestle Quick chocolate milk mix and the syrup. Now, which did you like better? Because there were periods when I was all about that syrup life. That fucking Nestle Quick. You remember it had the bunny on it? Do you remember the bottle had the bunny on it? And it was like yellow? And it was like a big brown bottle with a yellow thing with the bunny on it? Okay, and then every once in a while you'd get the powder. Now, the powder was good, especially for hot chocolates. But, oh my God, sometimes that powder just didn't want to break down in the milk. Sometimes you need to get like clumps. And then I became really happy with eating the clumps, because then you drink milk and it would be like it would be kind of like chocolatey tasting milk, but because it didn't quite absorb into the milk, you didn't get so you'd be drinking on some milk, and then all of a sudden you'd get a chunk of chocolate mix powder, and then you'd crunch on that, and it was like a fucking marshmallow in your cereal box. I mean, it was fantastic. Oh, Nestle Quick was special. Oh, it made me feel so special when I got to mix my own shit, and then your mom wasn't looking, so you'd pour a little bit more in there, and then all of a sudden you look, and your mom would look at the cup, and there was a big chunk of chocolate at the bottom of the cup. She's like, "What the fuck? How much of that shit did you put in there?" I'm like, "I don't know, Mom. I just do what I want to do. I don't know how much to put in there." And you just squeeze as much as that fucking thing, and you just shake it up as much as you can, and then you drink that shit, and it was the most chocolatey chocolate. I mean, no fucking carton of chocolate milk, no Lucerne or no dairy. No, this was the best. This was the absolute best. You could make it as chocolatey as you wanted. It was amazing. Oh, it was so good. It was delicious. It was delicious. I can't wait to watch Lord of the Rings. Yeah, me too. I can't wait. I'm going to go do that right now. I'm going to go bother the wife. Well, people, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. Oh, here we go. This ain't working. Let's wait for this thing to catch up. All right. Thank you, people. We'll see you tomorrow. Get your week started on the right foot. Unless you're a lefty, like I am, in which case, go fuck yourself. Have a good one, boys and girls. Take care of Northwoods, Kilowatt, Jorge, Atmos. Go watch some Lord of the Rings. Let's go watch some Lord of the Rings, shall we? All right, people. We'll see you. Have a good night. Stay blessed. Appreciate you guys. I really do. They can't hold us down. And the 49ers can go fuck themselves. And all the fans, too.